Hello everyone, this is part 2 of What If Naruto Celebrated Valentines with Hinata, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist. To see more, comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. There stood Naruto, in front of the ashy remains of the Hyuga main gate. Having made his proclamation, most of the Hyuga family stared at him like he was an insane criminal that had escaped from his imprisonment. "The woman that you love. Ha! Don't make me laugh. You shall not make it past us," the guards said to Naruto. This was a very bold statement, on that Naruto planned to prove wrong. "We'll see about that," Naruto said. Shadow clone jutsu. All at once, he produced about 50 shadow clones, all of them prepared to attack. "Attack him, men!" the man in front shouted. "He must not be allowed to go any further." "Go!" Naruto told all of his clones. "Fight them. I'll find Hinata." With that, they all charged against the approaching O of Hyuga clan members. As soon as they were close, each of Naruto's clones started to perform a different jutsu. Water Dragon Jutsu. Naruto saw a giant dragon made entirely of water erupt from the pond that sat off to the side of grounds. The sun shined off of it until it came down on about 10 Hyuga soldiers. Now he was glad that he had stolen those scrolls from Kakashi. All around him, different jutsu were being, taking out many members of the clan. One of the clones was standing stock still against the wall, his shadow connected to the shadows of about 5 soldiers. Another clone's body lay on the ground, while a Hyuga soldier attacked his own men with a big smile on his face. Naruto could tell that it was Ino's mind transfer jutsu at work. A third one had grown to an enormous size, becoming too large to beat. The rest of them were using various fire jutsus, high-speed taijutsu moves, genjutsu, and some were summoning throwing weapons. Not having time to admire the jutsus that he and his clones had managed to master in less than a day, he ran toward the gates to the house. "Man, is everybody at the front gate?" Naruto wondered to himself. "There's almost nobody in this house." He was right. All of the people in the clan who could fight were at the front gate, fighting his army of clones and their wide array of jutsus. It did not take long for Naruto to find Hinata's room, for it was the only room that was being guarded, so the 2 guards that sat outside met him when he got there. "You shall not pass," the first guard said. "We shall kill you here." These guys just don't seem to get it, Naruto thought as he made a few hand signs. Phoenix Flower Jutsu. Naruto unleashed an old, favorite jutsu of Sasuke's, sending flaming shuriken at his unprepared opponents. They dodged each of them easily. "Boy, if that is all you can do, then you are." His words were short as he was caught by a left hook in the face. That one punch sent him down the hallway, and then through the wall. The man's partner looked at Naruto, fear spread across his face like a veil. "If you don't want to end up like your friend, then I suggest that you leave," Naruto said as he turned toward the Hinata's bedroom door. "I can't do that," the man started to say, but a glare from Naruto made him be quiet. The man could see death in Naruto's eyes, ready to extinguish his mortal flame like a candle in a gust of wind. The man ran, stumbling a little, but he ran away nonetheless. "And here I thought that all Hyugas were fearless," Naruto thought as he stared after the man running away like a coward. Naruto pounded on the door in front of him. "Hinata, are you in there?" The response was almost immediate. "Naruto, you're here. Are you okay?" He was hit with a barrage of worried-sounding questions from behind the door. "She must have been so worried about me," Naruto thought as the question kept coming. Finally, Naruto said, "Hinata, calm down a little. I'm fine, I'm fine. You shouldn't worry about me so much." "I couldn't help it," Hinata sniffed, sounding to Naruto like she was close to tears. "After my father attacked you, I thought you might have," her word trailed off, but Naruto knew what she had thought. She had thought that he might have S. Naruto tried to think of how it would feel for him if Hinata S. He couldn't even imagine the pain that she had been feeling, but the mere thought of the event was enough to bring tears to his eyes. "Stand back, Hinata, I'm going to open this door," Naruto said. He heard her move away from the door. He summoned some chakra to his right pointer finger. The chakra extended 6 inches out of the tip of his finger, and took the shape of a knife. It made it look like a blue-colored blade had been grafted to the end of his finger. Using this chakra knife, he see through the locks that were on the outside of the door, as well as the normal door lock. He pushed the door open, and saw Hinata, whose eyes were red and a little swollen from crying. He walked up to her and said, "Now, why all the tears? I'm here and I'm okay. You should be happy." "I know, but she didn't finish her sentence. Instead, she wrapped her arms around his neck and cried into his jacket. "Naruto, Naruto," she said as she cried. He wrapped his arms around her too. "Time to go," Naruto said, after they stayed like that for several seconds. They left the room and ran for the front gate. When they got there, they were confronted by a large number of Hyuga soldiers. All of Naruto's clones were gone, and most of the soldiers remained. "Damn it, this isn't good," Naruto thought as he looked over the amount of soldiers still left. "Guess I have no choice. I have to use it." "Hinata," Naruto said, getting her attention. "I want you to grab hold of me, and whatever you do, don't let go." Hinata obeyed, grabbing him around his midsection and squeezing as hard as she could. "I'm going to need some more chakra for this one." Clearing his mind, he said to the 9 tails, "I need some chakra. And a lot of it." The fox obliged, releasing chakra into Naruto's system. Naruto's mind flashed back to the day before, to the conversation that he had occurred between him and his friends. Flashback. "Naruto, where did you learn a jutsu like that?" Sasuke asked from the top of a tree. His arms were wrapped around the tree, and he was holding onto a kunai that he had stuck into the side of it. "Well, do you remember all those years ago when I stole the scroll that contained all the forbidden jutsu of the village? I found it in there. I just never got a chance to try it out," Naruto said. He was on the ground, his jacket in shreds, and the area around him was completely dug up. Trees lay on their sides and piles of debris lay scattered everywhere. Neji was pulling himself out of a pile of debris, and everyone else was coming out of his or her various hiding places. "That was a forbidden jutsu?" Neji asked as he recovered from the vicious attack. "Small wonder it was forbidden now," Sakura said, looking around. "Look at all the damage it did." "Naruto, that's a very dangerous jutsu," Ino said. "What on earth made you decide to learn it?" "Hey, I didn't know what it would do," Naruto said. "I thought it might come in handy if I ever got in a tight spot. And that's the only time it should be used," Neji said, wiping a little bee from his cheek. "It's too dangerous otherwise." Got it, Naruto said. Then he and Neji resumed their fight. End flashback. I would have to say that this qualifies as a tight spot, Naruto thought. "Hinata, are you ready?" "Yes," Hinata said as she clung to him like her life depended on it. "All right, then here I go," Naruto said. He started to perform a complex series of hand signs. "He's bluffing," one of the soldiers said. "He's got nothing. Get him." The soldiers started to charge as soon as Naruto finished the series of hand signs. A black, ghost-like dragon appeared in the air, and started swirling around him and Hinata, creating a small amount of wind. The dragon quickly picked up speed, and the wind started to as well. "Dragon Twister Jutsu," Naruto shouted. Yes, I used the move from the third Inuyasha movie. If you don't like it, bite me." Suddenly, the ghost dragon was moving so fast that it couldn't be seen by the eye. A tornado of black wind erupted around Naruto and Hinata, enveloping both of them. The soldiers tried to get away, but the force of the wind was too strong. All of them were sucked into the twister, many of them screaming in terror. The sound of screaming did not last once they entered the twister. The twister lasted for about 2 minutes, and then simply dispersed, leaving behind the unconscious and of the soldiers. Naruto had seen everything from the eye of the twister. An invisible force had attacked each soldier as the twister spun. Their wounds were not serious, but many of them were either see-up, or had broken limbs. "Naruto," Hinata said, letting go of him. "When did you?" "I'll tell you later. Right now, let's just get out of here," Naruto said, grabbing Hinata's hand. "You're not going anywhere, boy," a voice said. Hiashi Hyuga had finally decided to show himself. He stood in front of the gate that Naruto had destroyed earlier, Byakugan eyes activated, and ready to fight. "You just don't know when to give up, do you, old man?" Naruto asked. He let go of Hinata's hand, but she quickly took hold of his hand again. Naruto, don't do this, she pleaded. He'll KO you. No, he won't, Naruto said. Not when I have this jutsu. He turned around to face her, and she gasped at what she saw. The area around Naruto's eyes had become clustered with veins, and his eyes had turned the same light purple color as hers. The Byakugan eye, Hinata said. But you're not a Hyuga clan member. How did you? Neji helped me out. He said it would only work for so long, but it would be enough to beat your dad. He also said that I would be able to use any technique that he could, Naruto said, grinning. Don't worry, I'll be fine. He kissed her after he said this, and then walked toward Hiashi. Have you said your last to her? Hiashi asked. Because now you will s. Taking up his fighting stance, Hiashi faced Naruto. Naruto took the same stance, and then they began to fight. Naruto did very well, despite the fact that he was new at fighting with the Byakugan eye. He could see everything, right down to the chakra network that was visible to all the members of the Hyuga clan. Oh no, Naruto said after a while. The Byakugan is fading. I have to finish this, and fast. This was easier said than done though, for he had made very little progress. He just wasn't fast enough to keep up with Hiashi. Give up, boy, Hiashi said. You can't beat me with my own techniques. You shall s her, and never see my daughter again. Naruto looked over to where he had left Hinata. She wasn't there. In fact, she had just come up on her father's back so fast that he didn't have time to react. One quick jab was all it took to shut down his chakra flow. Hinata, what are you doing? Hiashi asked his daughter. I'm stopping this pointless fight, father, Hinata said sternly. I am leaving with Naruto, and that is that. You won't stop me. She walked over to Naruto, who was breathing hard, but still standing. His Byakugan eyes had disappeared too. Taking his arm she said, I love him father, and nothing you say or do can change that. Hinata, Hiashi said. Then all of a sudden, he started to smile. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. Congratulations, you both pass. Ha! Both Naruto and Hinata said in unison. Naruto said, what are you talking about, old man? Well, maybe I should explain, Hiashi said. You see, I knew for a long time that Hinata liked you, Naruto, but I was waiting for the day that she confessed her love to you, and you confessed to her. I wanted to see what you would do to protect her, even if it was from her own family. As for Hinata, I wanted to see if she could stand up to me about how she felt about you. So, then you knew who I was talking about the other morning? Hinata asked. Yes, and I knew you ran away when you went to give him your chocolates too, Hiashi said with a smile. I had your younger sister follow you and tell me everything that happened. But Kakashi said that you didn't want me to have anything to do with Hinata, Naruto said. Of course he did. He didn't know that I was testing you, Hiashi explained. The only ones who knew about it were myself and Hinata's little sister. So I had to be convincing with everybody else, even Neji. You see, I knew Neji would help you in a situation like this, so I had to keep him out of the loop. So all of this was a test? Naruto asked. Looking around at all the soldiers he said, now I feel kind of bad for putting your people through that jutsu. I have to admit something, Hiashi said. That was the first time that I have seen the Dragon Twister jutsu in many years. The last time I saw it performed was when your father, the fourth Hokage, used it, Naruto. That was my father's jutsu. Naruto asked, looking surprised. Yes, and you use it as well as he did. Now I just have one thing left to say, Hiashi said, stepping forward. He placed his hand on Naruto's left shoulder. He said, take good care of my daughter, Naruto. With that, he turned and walked away, leaving Naruto and Hinata at the smoldering remains of the front gate. Well, that was unexpected, Naruto said, a little dumbstruck. Yes, it was, Hinata said. Then, grabbing Naruto's arm, she said, it all worked out though. Naruto looked at her, him. Smiling at her, he said, shall we go then? He asked her with a smile. She returned the smile and said, yes. With that they walked from the Hyuga state, Hinata hanging onto Naruto's arm, and her head resting on his shoulder. Late in the afternoon, on the same day that Naruto had attacked the Hyuga estate, Kakashi arrived to inspect the damage. He walked through the gate, which was being replaced at the time, reading, Make Out Paradise. Not paying attention to where he was going, he nearly fell over a medical ninja. Oops. Sorry about that, he said to the ninja, who went back to working on a Hyuga soldier with a broken arm. Kakashi quickly found Hiashi off to the one side, overseeing the whole thing. Kakashi worked his way over to Hiashi, and leaned on the wall next to him. Hello Kakashi, Hiashi said, not even looking at Kakashi. What can I do for you? Well, you can drop the angry act, for starters. Kakashi said, not even batting a lash. Hiashi smiled and said, HMPH. Can't get anything past you, can I? Wasn't this a little much for just a test? Kakashi asked, now looking at Hiashi, who looked right back. Probably, but I wanted to see how much he cared for Hinata. I wanted to see if he would stand up to a veritable army to protect her. Hiashi smiled a little smile. He passed with flying colors. Still, how did he beat all these people by himself? These are Hyuga elite soldiers, and it looks like they took the beating of a lifetime. Kakashi looked around at all the soldiers. He was surprised at the sight, but his face never showed it. They were unprepared. They boy used many jutsu. Ones that we didn't think that he knew, Hiashi said. He even used the Dragon Twister jutsu. Kakashi's eyebrows rose up so much that they nearly disappeared into his silver hair. The Dragon Twister jutsu. Kakashi smiled under his mask. He really is his father's son after all. I wonder where he picked up that jutsu. Well, the only place I can think of is the scroll of forbidden jutsu, Hiashi said. You're right, Kakashi said. Makes me wonder what else he learned when he peeked in that scroll. They both stood there for a while, thinking on the matter. Evening settled on the village of Konoha. At a small cafe in the village, Naruto and Hinata were sharing a cup of coffee with Sasuke and Sakura, and retelling the events that had occurred earlier in the day. It was a test. Both of them sounded shocked by the news that it had been a test. Sakura then said, boy, he must have really wanted to know what you were capable of. Well then, he got a good show, Naruto said with a smile. Thanks again you guys. Those jutsu you taught me came in handy. I hope they did, Sasuke said taking a sip of his coffee. Otherwise, that training would have just been a waste of our time. He did very well, Hinata said blushing a little as she looked at Naruto, but she smiled at the fact that he was all hers. But I only saw him use the one jutsu. That Dragon Twister jutsu. Sasuke and Sakura's eyes both snapped wide open, then they turned to a scowl that they directed towards Naruto, who just scratched the back of his head and grinned a goofy grin. So, what are you going to do now? Sakura asked, looking back towards Hinata, who was still smiling. I'm not sure, Hinata said. But, I think I'm going to move out of the Hyuga estate. This earned her a stare from everyone at the table. Why do you want to do that? Sasuke asked. Your family is okay about you and Naruto being together, aren't they? The only ones that I'm completely sure about that are my father, my sister, and Neji. I'm not sure about the rest of the family, though. So I've decided it's time for me to leave them. Where are you going to live then? You don't have anywhere else to go. Sakura said a little concerned. Well, Hinata said, blushing a lot at this point. If he would let me, I was hoping to move in with Naruto. Sakura and Sasuke looked stunned at this answer, while Naruto turned a little red as he looked at her. Hey, are you sure about that, Hinata? Sakura asked, a little flustered. Then she calmed down a bit and said, I mean, Naruto's apartment is so small. I don't think it was meant for two people. She does have a point, Hinata, Naruto said. My place is barely big enough for me anymore. I don't think it can take two people. Hinata looked a little disappointed, but then Sasuke said something that made both her and Naruto happy. If that's the case, Naruto, then why not come live with me and Sakura? Sasuke suggested. Both Naruto's and Hinata's heads snapped towards Sasuke's direction. I mean, the Uchiha main house is so big. We have more than enough room that the two of you could live with us and it still wouldn't be the least bit crowded. That actually sound pretty good, Naruto said. Suddenly he had a thought. Say, when did Sakura move in with you? You never told me about it. Sasuke actually blushed a little at this question. Really? I thought I did. Sasuke quickly looked away. He does have a good point, Naruto, Sakura said, blushing a little bit as well. That place is huge. We could all fit in there very easily. Turning to Hinata, she said, what about you, Hinata? What do you think? Hinata looked at her, and then at Sasuke. Finally she said, I think that would be fine. Hinata brought her hand to her lips, and her mind wandered through thoughts of her and Naruto living under the same roof. All right then, it's decided, Naruto said. When shall we move in? He asked with enthusiasm in his voice. Having finally stopped blushing, Sasuke turned back towards them and said, you guys can move in as early as tomorrow. All right then, Naruto said, and finished off his cup of coffee. In that case, I need to get home and pack. Turning to Hinata, he held out a hand and asked, can I walk you home, Hinata? Hinata looked at him with big eyes for a second, and then took his hand. She wrapped her arm around his as she stood up, and the two of them started walking in the direction of the Hyuga estate. As the two of them left, Sakura and Sasuke watched them go. Leaning against Sasuke, Sakura said, those two are perfect for each other. I'm happy for them. You're right, Sasuke said as he stared after the two of them. Those two are perfect for each other. Just like you are the perfect one for me. Sakura looked up at him with big green eyes. Naruto and Hinata had a quiet walk home, only because they were savoring each other's company. They were about halfway to the Hyuga estate when Naruto said, Hinata, are you sure this is what you really want? Hinata looked up at him. I mean, am I really worth it? Hinata stopped walking. Naruto looked at her, and she said, yes. You are worth it. You're worth the entire world to me. I would do anything for you. At this point Naruto's eyes opened wide. I mean, what I meant to say was. She was lost for words. Her face turned cherry red as she brought her hands to her mouth. Naruto's eyes reduced to their normal size and he smiled. He embraced her and held her close, and she did the same to him. While they embraced, Naruto said, you don't have to do anything for me. Being close to you is enough for me. They parted, but held onto each other by the arms. Naruto, Hinata said as she stared into his blue eyes. You're welcome, Naruto said with a smile. Come on, let's get you home. Your dad's going to be worried. He walked her the rest of the way to the Hyuga estate, then said goodbye to her at the gate. After that, he headed home and started to pack his things, getting a lot of help from his shadow clones. Late afternoon the next day, Sasuke stood at the front gate of the Uchiha main house with Sakura, waiting for Naruto and Hinata to show up. There's Naruto, Sakura said, spotting him coming around a corner a short distance away. And there's Hinata, Sasuke said, as Hinata showed up coming from the opposite direction. Each of them only had a couple of bags with them. When the two of them reached the gate, Sasuke asked, is that all the stuff you guys have? He had thought that they would both have a lot more stuff. Yeah, I didn't have very much to pack, Naruto said. There was less in my apartment than I thought there was. It was just a matter of finding it all. I didn't have very much either, Hinata said. The most I really needed was my clothes, and a few other things. All right then, Sakura said. Let's show them to their room then. Our room, they both thought. Then Naruto asked, are we sharing a room? Yep, Sasuke said, and that was it. Nothing else was said. However, both Naruto and Hinata blushed at the prospect of sharing a room with the other. They walked through the house, until they came to a rather luxurious bedroom on the one side of the house. This will be your room, Sakura said with a smile. Wow, Naruto said when he walked into the room. This is huge. The room was indeed very large. It had a large wardrobe in the one corner, big enough to hold several pair of clothes for each of them. The walls were colored a pretty light purple color, the same as Hinata's eyes, and the carpet was navy blue. A dresser sat in another corner, and a towering bookshelf sat against the one wall, but there were very few books on it. Even with all these things in the room, it was still big enough to comfortably fit 5 people. This is great. It's so much better than my place. Then Naruto noticed something that he hadn't when he had entered the room. Hinata must have noticed it too, because she said, there's only one bed. Yeah, Sasuke said. We thought you guys would like to share the bed. Naruto and Hinata both turned cherry red at this statement. Yes, they had both thought about it, but neither of them had thought it would actually happen. Sakura saw this and said, we'll leave you two to unpack. Hurry up too. We made plans to eat out tonight in order to celebrate you guys. After she said that, she disappeared out of the doorway, dragging Sasuke by the arm, and leaving a speechless Naruto and Hinata to unpack their things. That night, Naruto lay in the bed next to Hinata, who was fast asleep. Both of them agreed that they would share the bed after they unpacked their things, and left with Sasuke and Sakura. The plans that Sasuke and Sakura had made had actually turned out to be a party in honor Naruto and Hinata getting together. Almost every one of their friends had been there, as well as Kakashi and the rest of the Jonin. Food and sake had been served in large amounts, and everyone indulged in large amounts of both. Everyone had a great time, but they also all had too much to drink. Hinata had had so much that she barely got home and into her nightgown before she fell asleep on the bed. Naruto had been sober enough to cover her up before changing into shorts and a t-shirt and slipping in next to her. Now he lay there, so nervous about the fact that he was sharing a bed with her that he couldn't get to sleep. Calm down. It's no big deal, he thought to himself, but he looked at her next to him, and got even more nervous. Finally, he cleared his mind of everything and closed his eyes. He fell asleep almost instantly. He dreamed some bad dreams. They were mainly of Sakura, who was beating the hell out of him during each one. He woke up with a start, remembering the last dream, where she was going to squeeze him until he snapped like a pretzel. Phew, it was just a dream, he thought to himself. Then he noticed that something was wrong. Wait a minute, if it was a dream, then why do I feel like I'm still being squeezed? Looking down, he quickly spotted the source of the pressure around his midsection. Hinata had rolled over and grabbed onto his waist while she slept. Or crud, Naruto thought. He started to twist in her arms and tried to get out of her grip, but the more he fought to get out, the harder she squeezed. He struggled for a little longer, and finally gave up after he saw that it was a hopeless struggle. Naruto, Hinata muttered in her sleep. Something tells me this is going to be a very long night, Naruto thought before he drifted back to sleep. The rest of the night went well, except for the few times he was woken up by her squeezing him. Naruto woke up the next morning with a splitting headache, feeling even more tired than when he went to bed the night before. Crawling out of bed, he grabbed a towel from wardrobe, and then walked to the kitchen, where he found Sasuke drinking a cup of coffee and holding his head. Morning, Sasuke said groggily. He winced a little when he said it. Naruto had seen him the night before. He had drunk so much sake that he had become like Lee did after one shot. It was a side of Sasuke that Naruto hadn't seen before. Although, he didn't destroy everything in sight when he was drunk. Never again, huh? Naruto asked, pouring a cup of coffee for himself. Nope. Never again, Sasuke said. He poured some more coffee and said, at least not if I can help it. I hear you, Naruto said. He took a sip of his coffee, then recoiled at the taste that met his tongue. Yuck. What kind of coffee is this? He looked down in his cup to see that the coffee was thick and dark, kind of like tar. It's espresso, Sasuke said as he leaned against the wall. I need something strong to wake me up in the morning, and this happens to be the only thing that will do it. He sipped down some more of the strong liquid as he said this. No thanks then, Naruto said. That stuff tastes horrible. Besides, a hot bath wakes me up more than coffee does. Don't wait up for me. With that, Naruto exited through the door on Sasuke's right, heading towards the bath. Don't worry, I won't, Sasuke said. He stood there for a minute, and then looked at the clock on the wall. He thought, let's see, in about 3, 2, 1. Somewhere in the house Sasuke heard Hinata scream, and then he heard Sakura yell, Naruto, get the hell out of here. Then there was a yell, a small thump, and finally silence. Sasuke remained in the same position for another minute, taking small, patient sips of his coffee. Finally, Naruto came back through the door he had exited from. He was soaked from head to toe, a bucket was sitting on his head, and he had a little bit of an. So, did you see anything? Sasuke asked with a smile. Or did Sakura punch you and give you that nose B? Naruto looked at him for a second, and then said, I hate you sometimes, you know that. Sasuke laughed at this. Then, the doorbell rang. I'll get it, Naruto said, walking out of the room. He pulled the bucket off his head as he went and dropped it in the doorway. Sasuke laughed a little more and went back to his coffee. Naruto reached the front door of the house and opened the door. He was met by Shikamaru, who had Ino hanging onto his arm like Hinata did with Naruto. Oh. Hello Naruto, Ino said. What are you doing here? And what happened to you? She was referring to the fact that he was still soaking wet, and that he still had some B on his face. I'll answer the first one, but I would rather not talk about the second, Naruto said. Sasuke and Sakura invited me and Hinata to live with them, so I'm living here now. What? Ino yelped. Shikamaru even raised his eyebrows in surprise. Well, if that's the case, Shikamaru said. I bet you walked in on the girls taking a bath, didn't you? That's why you're like that, isn't it? Naruto felt like he'd been A sweat drop appeared on his head and he said, yep. Well, then you deserved it, Ino said. Anyway, Tsunade sent us. She wanted us to give it to you guys, she said, handing him a scroll of paper. It's your guys' next mission. Thanks, Naruto said. He turned to shut the door, then stopped and asked, how long have you guys been going out for? Both Shikamaru and Ino looked like they had been hit by an electric shock. Then Ino said, WWH, what makes you think we're dating? The fact that you're holding onto his arm like he's going to disappear if you don't, Naruto said with lazy eyes. See you guys later, he said, shutting the door, and leaving the two of them there, both blushing like cherries. What's that you have there, Naruto? Sasuke asked when Naruto re-entered the kitchen. According to Ino, it's our next mission assignment, Naruto said, unrolling the scroll. He read it over, then said, it's not just for us. It's for Sakura and Hinata too. Apparently, there's something going on in the Land of Wind. We're supposed to go there to help stop whatever it is, and we're going to be working with, or, hell. What? Who is it? Sasuke asked. Who else but Gaara, Kankuro and Temari? Naruto said in a slightly down voice. We meet them later today, and head off for the Land of Wind. Hey, it's no problem, Sasuke said. I heard he has better control over Shukaku than he did before. Yeah, right, Naruto said, thinking back to his first fight with Gaara. Hinata was back in her room. She and Sakura had just finished their bath, and she was getting dressed. I can't believe that Naruto saw me, she said, blushing. As she pulled on a pair of pants, she thought to herself, did he like my body? Or did he hate it? She hoped it wasn't the latter of the two, for she didn't want to drive him away. Just then, there was a knock at the door. Outside the door, Naruto asked, Hinata, are you decent? Just a second, she yelled. She quickly pulled on a tube top, a net shirt, and vest to wear over them, and then said, all right, you can come in. Naruto opened the door and walked in, catching her eye when he did. They both blushed, remembering what had happened not much earlier. Naruto was the first to speak up. Sorry about earlier, he said. I didn't know you two were in there. He blushed a little harder as he said this. It's okay, Hinata said, even though she was so embarrassed that she could barely look at him. She was going to be even more embarrassed after she asked the question she had on her mind. Naruto, I want to know something. Huh, what is it? He sounded a little confused. I want to know, did you like it? Did you like my body? She had muttered the last question to the ground, and her face burned with embarrassment. Naruto's face was about the same, but he didn't falter. He swallowed, and took a deep breath. Then he said, I couldn't see much through the steam, but I could tell one thing. Hinata looked at him hopefully. You have a fabulous body, Hinata. He smiled at her, and she jumped on him and hugged him. Thank you, Naruto, she said as she pressed herself against him. He blushed a little more, trying to keep his mind off of them, but it was very difficult. She finally let him go, and he breathed a sigh of relief. A little more time, and he would have been in a bit of trouble. What's the matter? Hinata had mistaken his sigh of relief for a troubled sign. Oh, it's nothing. I came to tell you that we have a mission. We leave in a little bit to meet up with the Sand Ninjas, he said. You mean, Gaara and his squad? Hinata asked nervously. Naruto nodded, and Hinata hugged him again. Those guys. Why them? They scare me to death, especially Gaara, and that demon that possesses him. She shivered a little in his arms, and she pressed her head against his shirt. Naruto could see that she was obviously afraid, so he put his hand under her chin and positioned her head to look him in the eyes, and then said, Don't forget, I have a demon living in me too. You don't have to worry about him, because if I have to, then I will protect you from him. Oh Naruto, Hinata said, looking into his deep blue eyes. The three siblings from the Sand Village were waiting on the outside of Konoha. Gaara was standing against the village's wall, Kankuro was in a tree, and Temari just stood there with her arms crossed. Noon rolled around before Naruto and everybody else showed up. It's about time, Temari said impatiently. Kankuro jumped down from the tree, swinging his puppet over his back, and said, "We thought you guys were never going to show up." "Yeah, sorry about that," Naruto said. "It took us a little longer than we thought it would to get our gear together." Just then, he noticed Hinata was hiding behind him, and with good reason from what he saw. Gaara was staring at her like he was trying to burn a hole through her skin. "Who is this?" he asked in his usual voice. He looked at Naruto when he asked it, clearly directing the question towards him. "This is Hinata, my girlfriend," Naruto said with a threatening tone, which basically said, "Lay a finger on her, and I'll gut you where you stand." "Girlfriend, huh?" Gaara said. Then with a little chuckle, he said, "Lucky fox." He started walking the path that led away from the village, and everyone else followed, while Naruto and Hinata lagged in the back. After a while, Kankuro slowed down to join them in the back. Hinata was leaning on Naruto's right shoulder by this point, while his arm was around her waist. "Don't worry about Gaara, you two," Kankuro said in a low voice, but still loud enough for the two of them to hear. "He's been in a bit of a bad mood lately." "About what?" Naruto asked. What could he be in a bad mood about? "Well, it's the fact that he can't find a girl," Kankuro said. Naruto and Hinata looked shocked by the answer. Neither of them had been expecting that answer. Kankuro continued, saying, "You see, lately Temari has been going out with that Kiba kid from your village, and I've been going out with a girl from our village. He's a little jealous of us, so he's kind of against most couples right now." Naruto and Hinata couldn't believe what they were hearing. The terror of the Sand Village was upset because he couldn't get a girlfriend. They almost laughed, but then Sasuke and Sakura lagged back to join Naruto, Hinata, and Kankuro. "Hey Kankuro, what's going on in the Land of the Wind anyway? Why did you need to call in help from Konoha?" "We didn't just call for help," Kankuro said. "We called for specifically for you and Naruto." "Why us?" Naruto asked, sounding confused. "Because the one causing the trouble is the one that both of you faced, and walked away from alive," Kankuro said. "What are you?" Naruto started to ask, but then the answer hit him like a ton of bricks. Sasuke must have come to the same conclusion, because he said, "You don't mean," his voice was low and quiet. "Yes," Kankuro said. "The one causing the trouble in the Land of the Wind, is Itachi Uchiha." That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.